Welcome to Learning English from People.
Kobe Bryant, the man who became the Mamba. On the morning of January 26, 2020, the world learned a terrible truth. A helicopter had crashed into a California hillside, and there were no survivors. In an instant, a global icon was gone. Kobe Bryant was dead, along with his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, and 7 other people. The news was met with shock and disbelief. It didn't seem real. Across the globe, from Los Angeles to Manila, from Italy to China, people stopped. They cried. They gathered in public squares to mourn a man many had never met. The grief was deep and personal, far beyond the world of sports. It raised a powerful question. Who was this man who could inspire such a massive outpouring of love and pain? To understand the legend of Kobe Bryant, you have to go back to the beginning. And his beginning was different from almost any other basketball superstar. He was born in Philadelphia on August 23, 1978. His father, Joe Bryant, was a professional basketball player himself. His parents famously named him after seeing a type of Japanese beef on a restaurant menu. Basketball was always in his blood, but his childhood was not a typical American story. When Kobe was just 6 years old, his family moved to Italy, where his father continued his career. That move changed everything. For 7 years, Italy was his home. He learned to speak fluent Italian and Spanish. This gave him a view of the world that most American kids his age didn't have. He also fell in love with soccer. He watched the great teams, like AC Milan, and studied how the players used their feet and saw the field. He later said that soccer taught him strategy and vision, skills he would use on the basketball court. But basketball was always his first love. While other kids in America were playing on playgrounds, Kobe was studying. His grandfather would mail him videotapes of NBA games. Young Kobe would watch them over and over, breaking down the moves of his heroes, especially Michael Jordan. He was always at his father's games, sometimes working as a boy who wiped the sweat from the floor. At halftime, he would run onto the court and practice his shots. His father's teammates called it the Kobe Show. He practiced constantly, often alone in a gym. In the quiet of a foreign country, his obsession with the game grew stronger. This unique childhood made him feel like an outsider. It was a feeling that would stay with him his entire life, fueling a fire to prove he was the best. In 1992, when Kobe was 13, the family moved back to Philadelphia. He was a different kind of kid now. He had a European style and a deep understanding of the game. He brought this to the tough, physical world of American high school basketball. At Lower Merion High School, he was immediately a star. As a freshman, he was good enough to play on the main team, which was rare. By his senior year, he was a true phenomenon. He could play every position on the court. He was an amazing scorer and a great defender. He led his team with a level of intensity that was almost scary. In his final season, he led Lower Merion to its first state championship in 53 years. He broke records, scoring more points than famous players like Wilt Chamberlain who had played in the same area. The awards followed. He was named the best high school player in the country. Top colleges wanted him badly, but Kobe had a bigger dream. At just 17 years old, with a confident smile, he announced he was not going to college. He was going straight to the NBA. The 1996 NBA draft was a historic moment. The general manager of the Los Angeles Lakers was Jerry West, a basketball legend himself. West watched Kobe work out before the draft and was amazed. He said it was the best workout he had ever seen from any player. The Lakers didn't have a high draft pick that year, so West made a clever deal. He asked the Charlotte Hornets, who had the 13th pick, to choose Kobe for them. In return, the Lakers would trade their starting center, Vlade Divac. It was a huge risk to trade a star player for a teenager from high school. For a moment, the deal almost failed when Divac said he might retire. But in the end, it went through. Kobe Bryant was officially a Los Angeles Laker. He was still so young that his parents had to co-sign his contract. His start in the NBA was not easy. He was a talented rookie, but he didn't get to play much. He was behind older, more experienced players. Still, he showed flashes of his amazing ability. He won the 1997 Slam Dunk Contest, flying through the air with style and power. But his first season is remembered for a painful ending. In a big playoff game against the Utah Jazz, the game was on the line. The Lakers needed someone to make a shot. The 18-year-old Kobe took the ball. He shot once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. All 4 shots were air balls. They didn't even hit the rim. The Lakers lost the game and their season was over. It was a public failure, and it was humiliating. Many young players would have lost their confidence, but Kobe was different. That failure became his fuel. Right after the game, he went to a local gym and practiced shooting for hours until the sun came up. He later said that moment was the reason for his success. He promised himself he would never be unprepared for a big moment again. By his second season, he was an all-star, the youngest in NBA history. By his third, he was one of the best guards in the league. But the team needed something more to win a championship. That something arrived in 1999 in the form of a legendary coach, Phil Jackson. Jackson brought a new system of offense and a calm, focused philosophy. His job was to manage the 2 explosive talents on the team, Kobe Bryant and the team's giant center, Shaquille O'Neal. The partnership between Shaq and Kobe was one of the greatest in sports history. It was also one of the most difficult. Shaq was a huge, powerful force who loved to laugh and entertain. Kobe was a serious, focused killer on the court. Their personalities clashed. They argued in public and disagreed in private. But when they were on the court together, they were almost impossible to stop. From 2000 to 2002, they led the Lakers to 3 NBA championships in a row. It was a dynasty. In the 2000 finals, Kobe badly hurt his ankle, but he came back in a key game to hit several big shots in overtime, winning the game after Shaq had fouled out. They were champions again in 2001 and 2002. At just 23 years old, Kobe Bryant had 3 rings. He had reached the top of the mountain, but a dark chapter was about to begin. The summer of 2003 was the biggest turning point in Kobe's life. He was in Colorado for knee surgery when he was accused of sexual assault by a 19-year-old hotel worker. He was arrested, and the news shocked the world. The clean, perfect image of the superstar was broken. Companies that had sponsored him, like McDonald's, ended their deals. His jersey sales dropped. He held a press conference with his wife, Vanessa, by his side. With tears in his eyes, he admitted that he had been unfaithful to his wife. But he strongly denied the assault, saying the encounter was consensual. The criminal case was eventually dropped when the woman decided not to testify in court. A separate civil lawsuit was settled privately. Kobe issued a public apology. He said that he understood that she did not see the incident in the same way that he did. The scandal changed how people saw him forever. It was the lowest point of his life. He had to rebuild his reputation, his marriage, and his identity. On the basketball court, his world was also falling apart. The Lakers lost the 2004 NBA Finals. The tension between Shaq and Kobe had become too much. The team broke up. Phil Jackson left, and Shaq was traded to the Miami Heat. Kobe signed a new contract to stay with the Lakers. He was now the only star, the undisputed leader of the team. It was what he always wanted. But the years that followed were long and frustrating. Without Shaq, the Lakers were not a very good team. They even missed the playoffs in 2005. People criticized Kobe, calling him selfish and difficult to coach. Without a great team around him, Kobe turned his frustration into a historic scoring performance. For 2 years in a row, he was the NBA's leading scorer. This was the era of his most incredible individual games. In one game, he scored 62 points in just 3 quarters. He alone had scored more points than the entire other team. Then, on January 22, 2006, he did something that seemed impossible. Against the Toronto Raptors, Kobe scored 81 points in a single game. It was the second highest point total in NBA history. He was unstoppable, hitting difficult shots from everywhere on the floor. It was a performance of pure will. During this time, he also changed his jersey number from 8 to 24. He said it was a symbol of a new start, of growing up. He was a scoring machine, but his team was not winning. In 2007, he became so frustrated that he publicly demanded that the Lakers trade him. That demand was a crisis for the Lakers, but it led to his redemption. Instead of trading him, the team's management made a brilliant move. They acquired another all-star player, Pau Gasol. This trade instantly made the Lakers a championship team again. The partnership between Kobe and Gasol was built on deep respect and friendship. With Gasol, Kobe's game changed. He became a better leader. He trusted his teammates more. In 2008, he was named the NBA's most valuable player for the first time. He led the Lakers back to the NBA Finals, but they lost to their old rivals, the Boston Celtics. That loss was painful, but just like the Airballs years ago, it became motivation. The next season, Kobe was on a mission. He led the Lakers back to the finals, and this time they won. Kobe Bryant was a champion again. He was the finals MVP, and he had done it as the clear leader of his team. A year later, he got his ultimate revenge. The Lakers played the Celtics again in the finals. After a long and difficult 7-game series, the Lakers won. It was Kobe's 5th championship. He had finally proven he could win without Shaq. His legacy as one of the all-time greats was secure. The final years of his career were a sad but beautiful battle against time and his own body. He desperately wanted a 6th championship. In the 2013 season, he pushed himself to the limit, playing almost every minute of every game to get his team into the playoffs. Then, disaster struck. He tore his Achilles tendon, a terrible injury that often ends a player's career. In a moment that showed his legendary toughness, Kobe walked back onto the court. He calmly made 2 free throws on a leg that was broken inside. Then, he walked off the court on his own. He was never the same player after that. More injuries followed. The Black Mamba, as he called himself, was human after all. The decline was hard to watch, but it also showed a new side of Kobe. He became a wise, older voice in the league, helping young players. In 2015, he announced he would retire at the end of the season. He did it by writing a beautiful poem called "Dear Basketball." It was a love letter to the game that had shaped his life. His final season became a long farewell tour. In every city, fans who had booed him for years now stood up and cheered for him. His very last game was a perfect ending. On April 13, 2016, in front of his home crowd in Los Angeles, the 37-year-old Kobe played one last incredible game. He took 50 shots and scored an amazing 60 points. He led his team to a comeback victory. It was the most points ever scored by a player in their final game. After the game, he stood at the center of the court and smiled. "What can I say?" he said. "Mamba out." Retirement did not mean he slowed down. He attacked his new life with the same intensity. He became a successful businessman and a best-selling author. He turned his poem, Dear Basketball, into a short animated film, and in 2018, he won an Academy Award. He started his own media company to create stories for young people. But his greatest passion was his family. He was a loving father to his 4 daughters. His second daughter, Gianna, was a talented basketball player herself, and Kobe was her coach. He was building a second act to his life, one that promised to be just as meaningful as his first. The world never got to see that second act finished. After the helicopter crash in 2020, the world grieved. Murals of Kobe and Gianna were painted on walls all over the planet. The NBA renamed the All-Star Game MVP award in his honor. Later that year, the Lakers won the championship and dedicated it to his memory. Kobe Bryant's legacy is complex. He was a fierce competitor, so demanding that he could be a difficult teammate. He missed more shots than any player in NBA history, but he also made more game-winning shots than almost anyone. His life story includes 5 championships, and it also includes the shame of the sexual assault allegation, which will always be part of his story. But his influence cannot be denied. He was the bridge between Michael Jordan and the next generation of stars. He inspired millions with his work ethic, which he called the Mamba Mentality. It became a famous phrase, a simple idea for the powerful belief that you can achieve greatness through relentless hard work. In his later years, he grew from an arrogant young star into a wise and beloved mentor. His life was a journey of incredible ambition, deep struggle, and powerful growth. He left behind a story not just about basketball, but about pushing the limits of what is possible, a legacy that will continue to inspire for generations to come.